The battle for Earth rages on as humanity's remaining forces engage the alien weapon head-on. The overwhelming power of the alien ship becomes clear as the human fleet's efforts are absorbed without effect. In the face of utter destruction, a single officer records a last-ditch effort, but even as they fight, the odds seem insurmountable. The hull is absorbing our fire. The words felt like a punch to the chest. Commander Jensen's voice cracked through the comms, but his message was clear: humanity's weapons had no impact. The alien ship's surface shimmered as if the firepower of a dozen warships were nothing more than a passing breeze. On the ground, chaos was taking root as well. People scrambled into shelters, but none of it mattered. There was no escaping this force. We've been firing for the past 20 minutes and nothing is happening. Lieutenant Vega reported, her voice a mixture of disbelief and desperation. The energy beams, there's no sign they've even scratched the hull. Jensen stood at the center of the command station, watching the live feed of the alien weapon. The massive structure, which once seemed so distant, now filled the entirety of the sky. It pulsed, a rhythmic throb that reverberated deep in their bones. A living thing, inhuman yet undeniable. The alien weapon wasn't just an assault on Earth. It was a demonstration of the invincible. Earth's most advanced artillery, their strongest defensive systems, every missile and laser fired, none of it mattered. The energy shield surrounding the alien ship absorbed every attack, and in return, Earth cities began to burn one by one. "Commander, we're losing our fleet," came the voice of Captain Hughes from the bridge of the Colin. "The fighters, the defense ships, they're gone, one by one. It's like they're vanishing into the hull itself." Jensen turned away from the screen. The sound of his own breath filled his ears. Panic was setting in. They'd known they were outgunned, but this was a slaughter. And yet the alien ship remained eerily quiet, as if its creators were indifferent to the destruction they were causing. "What are we missing?" Vega's voice trembled over the comms, as if she, too, was searching for the answer that didn't exist. "Why aren't we getting through?" "We're not fighting a ship, Vega," Jensen replied, his voice tight. "We're fighting a force. This thing isn't here to conquer. It's here to break us." The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Jensen's mind raced. There had to be something, some small chance, some tactic that would give them the upper hand. But as the alien ship's hulking silhouette loomed over Earth, Jensen realized that the battle wasn't going to be won with tactics, it was going to be won with something else. "I'm pulling back the remaining fleet," Jensen ordered, his voice uncharacteristically calm. "Get the survivors to the farthest reaches of the system. We need time to regroup." "No." Vega's voice came through the comms again, sharper this time. "If we retreat, it's over. We'll never get another chance." "I'm not retreating," Jensen said, his jaw clenching. "We'll buy humanity some time. But right now, we need to preserve what we have left. Get everyone out of range." He turned back to the console, where the battle log flickered. The words "hull-absorbing fire" danced across the screen, a mocking reminder of the helplessness they felt. "Prepare for emergency procedures," he muttered, his voice almost to himself. "This isn't over. Not yet." Vega didn't respond. She didn't need to. Everyone in the room understood the gravity of his words. The alien ship may have been invulnerable, but that didn't mean humanity was finished. From the corner of the station, an ensign spoke up, his voice shaky. "Commander, we've detected an anomaly. It's faint, but," before he could finish, the entire room shook violently, the lights dimming as the entire command station jolted. The alien ship knew the weapon had made its move. Brace for impact. Jensen shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. A massive beam shot out from the weapon, its intensity so blinding that the command center seemed to flicker out of existence for a moment. It sliced through Earth's atmosphere, with a roar cutting the very fabric of the planet. The beam split into multiple streams, and humanity's last remnants of defense were obliterated in an instant. The command center's lights flickered, and for a brief moment, Jensen thought it was all over. The station had sustained too much damage, yet the hum of the backup systems whispered in the darkness, a fragile promise of life. He was alive. But how much longer? The screen in front of him buzzed to life again. Hull is still absorbing our fire. The voice of Lieutenant Vega echoed back at him, barely audible over the crackling noise of the static. Jensen closed his eyes, his mind overwhelmed with the weight of what was happening. Humanity had been struck down, but they were not gone. Not yet. I thought it was mercy. It wasn't. The alien weapon might have believed it had won, but humanity wasn't finished. Not yet. It was the beginning of the end, but also the beginning of something far more dangerous. And as Jensen made his way toward the escape pod, the last hope for humanity, he knew one thing for sure. They would fight even if there was no chance of victory, and they would die fighting. The atmosphere inside the command center was thick with dread. The air hummed with the faint electric buzz of the backup systems, a quiet contrast to the frantic chaos unfolding outside. Every eye was glued to the monitors, every mind focused on the task at hand, but the weight of failure pressed down like a leaden blanket. Commander Jensen stood at the helm, his posture rigid, his mind racing with one overwhelming thought. How could they have underestimated the alien weapon so badly? What had they missed? There had to be something, some crucial detail they had overlooked in their desperate rush to defend Earth. But as the lights flickered and the hum of the emergency systems droned on, it was becoming clearer by the second that the alien force had simply outclassed them in every way imaginable. His thoughts were interrupted by the shrill voice of Lieutenant Vega, still trying to process the loss of their fleet. "Sir, the fleet's gone. It's gone. The remaining ships are being absorbed into the hull. The firepower we've thrown at them, it's not even making a dent." Vega's voice wavered, raw with panic. Jensen felt a cold spike in his chest. The reports had been coming, in the devastation mounting, but it hadn't truly hit him until now. The very technology they had prided themselves on was nothing more than dust in the wind against this unknown force. He clenched his jaw, his hands tightening on the console in front of him. "We don't have time to mourn our losses," he replied, his voice a steel thread, though the tremor in it betrayed the depth of his concern. "What are the readings from the alien ship?" "We're tracking it, but it's difficult. It's not behaving like anything we've ever seen before," Vega said, her hands moving rapidly across her console. It's pulsing, like it's drawing in energy, not just from the planet, but from every attack we make. Every shot just seems to strengthen it. It's like we're feeding it," Jensen finished, his voice low. The realization struck him like a blow. Everything they'd thrown at it, every missile, every strike from their fleet, was just making the enemy stronger. It was feeding off them. "We're losing time," came the voice of Captain Hughes from the bridge, his voice calm but strained. "The civilians are evacuating, but we don't have a lot of time before it's too late. If we don't take action, now the entire planet will be—" "I know what's at stake, Captain," Jensen snapped, cutting him off. His own sense of urgency was beginning to suffocate him. They had to find a solution. They had to hold on, buy time something. Anything. The alien weapon in the sky loomed, its massive, dark shape still largely unmoving, almost serene in its calmness despite the destruction it was causing below. It looked so simple, almost organic in form, just a floating mass of shifting metal and energy. But it was far from simple. It was a nightmare that had come to life. How long until the second wave of the fleet can reach us? Jensen asked, though he already knew the answer. the chances were slim. He had seen the devastation, the way their fighters had evaporated into nothingness before they even had a chance to engage. Even the automated drones they sent had been absorbed by the ship's shield with barely a flicker. "It'll be too late," Vega said, the words blunt and heavy. "We'll be wiped out long before they even make it close. Whatever it is, this thing is built for one thing: destruction." "Then we fight anyway," Jensen said, his voice colder now, the determination surging within him. They couldn't just lay down and die. They had to fight no matter how futile it seemed. There had to be a way. Vega stared at him, her face drawn with exhaustion and disbelief. "You heard the reports. Our fire isn't even reaching it. What are we going to fight with?" "I'm not talking about weapons," Jensen said, shaking his head, a bitter smile pulling at the corner of his lips. "I'm talking about everything else. The one thing the alien forces can't understand: our resilience." He turned toward the large holographic map of Earth displayed on the wall, fingers moving across the console to bring up the global evacuation plans. Tens of millions were already in shelters. Thousands of ships had been mobilized. It wasn't much, but it was something. They had one thing the aliens didn't seem to anticipate: time to regroup. How much time until it hits full power? Jensen asked. 30 minutes, Vega replied. If we can't disrupt its energy field by then, the remaining power grids will be drained, and Earth systems will collapse. No communications, no power, no defense. 30 minutes, Jensen muttered, as if he were trying to will some miracle to occur in that time frame. We can't stop it from feeding, but maybe we can use that against it. We're listening, Commander, Captain Hughes said, leaning in from the bridge. His voice had changed, softer now, filled with the resolve Jensen had come to rely on. Vega, set up a grid disruption protocol on all major defense satellites, Jensen ordered. We'll overload the energy beams at the focal point of the ship. If we can't stop it from absorbing our energy, maybe we can overload its core systems. We might not have the power to break through the shields, but we can at least take out its ability to draw from us. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even close to perfect. But it was the only shot they had. On it, sir, Vega said, her fingers flying across the console. This is risky, but it's our best shot. Jensen nodded, but the doubt never fully left him. He had seen so much destruction already, felt so helpless as their best attempts turned into failures. But he couldn't afford to let that fear consume him. Not now. He turned back to the screen showing the alien ship above, the black hole of destruction slowly drawing in the planet's energy. Come on, we're going to need everything we've got. Let's show them what we're made of. The countdown was ticking. Every second felt like it might be their last. Jensen knew that, but he couldn't allow the weight of defeat to claim him. Not yet. And then, as the final seconds of their plan drew nearer, a sudden shift in the alien ship's hull caught his attention. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough to give him pause. The surface of the ship had changed again. It wasn't absorbing their energy anymore. It was preparing to retaliate. The air inside the command center was thick with tension. Every eye was fixed on the screens, each person holding their breath as the countdown to their last-ditch effort ticked away. General Jensen stood near the center, his mind running at a speed he could hardly keep up with. The alien ship, the weapon, hovered above Earth, its dark form pulsating ominously. Humanity's final attempt to stop it was about to unfold, and with every passing second, the pressure of failure tightened its grip. Status report, Vega, Jensen ordered, his voice low but intense. Lieutenant Vega's hands moved over her console. Her face set in a determined expression, but the exhaustion was clear in her eyes. We're initiating the grid disruption sequence now. All systems are in place, sir. We've hit the first point of the beam. It's working. Jensen felt a flicker of hope, but it was short-lived. How long until full overload? 5 minutes, Vega replied, her voice quieter now, the weight of the impending failure evident. If we can't push through the shields in that time, we'll lose everything. The power grid will drain and Earth's remaining defenses. We'll be down for good. Jensen turned away, staring at the alien ship on the main screen. It was massive, so massive that even Earth's biggest ships seemed like specks next to it. Its surface was smooth and featureless, almost like a living organism pulsing with some form of energy he couldn't comprehend. Their missiles had done nothing. Their lasers had barely scratched it. And now, after all their preparation, it came down to this single desperate move. "Commander," came the voice of Captain Hughes from the bridge, his tone tight. "The ship's been quiet, too quiet. It's almost like it's waiting for something." Jensen's eyes narrowed. "Waiting for what?" "I'm not sure, sir." "But it's not normal," Hughes continued, his voice growing more strained. "We've observed the energy buildup. It's building to something. Whatever it is, it's not just a weapon. It's something more. Something we've never seen before." Jensen felt a cold rush of dread settle in his chest. Was this all just a setup? Was the ship simply letting them waste their resources before unleashing its true power? "Activate emergency power," Jensen ordered. "We're not waiting around to find out what it has planned. Get everything we've got ready." "Roger that," Hughes responded, but just as the order was relayed, a high-pitched sound filled the command center. Everyone looked up as the screens flickered, the lights dimming. The alien ship above seemed to come to life. A low hum resonated from it, like a deep growl of some massive creature. It wasn't just an energy buildup, it was something far darker. The ship's surface began to glow with an unnatural light, as if it were awakening, responding to the energy feeding into it from Earth's systems. "General," Vega shouted, "it's absorbing our energy faster than we anticipated. It's counteracting the overload. Damn it." Jensen hissed under his breath. They were too slow. The alien ship was reacting faster than they could disrupt it, using the very power they'd tried to drain from it to make itself stronger. He looked around the room, his officer's eyes filled with the same grim realization. "Prepare for impact," he said, his voice firmer now. "We've done all we can." As the countdown clock ticked closer to 0, the tension in the room was unbearable. There was nothing more they could do. Humanity's last shot had failed. The alien ship was too powerful, too intelligent, and it had played them like a game. Then, without warning, the ship above Earth unleashed its fury. The first wave of energy hit Earth like a thunderclap, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The massive beam of concentrated energy shot from the alien ship, tearing through the atmosphere with a deafening roar. It cut across the sky, splitting clouds and lighting up the night with an unnatural brilliance. The force of it sent shock waves through the command center. Jensen staggered back, holding onto the console for balance. "Status now," he demanded, his voice rising over the growing rumble of the ship's energy release. "Shields are holding." "But barely," Vega reported, her voice strained. "The energy blast is eating through everything. The grid is about to collapse." Jensen's eyes darted to the screens. He watched as the beam continued to slice through Earth's atmosphere, sending fires erupting in every direction. The devastation was instantaneous. Major cities were consumed by the energy, turning to ash in seconds. "They've initiated global lockdown," Vega continued. "Communications are down. The satellites are failing. It's worse than we thought, sir." Jensen turned away from the screen, trying to steady himself. The situation was catastrophic. His mind raced. This wasn't just an invasion. This was an extinction event. The alien ship didn't care about conquering Earth. It was here to annihilate. It completely. We can't stop it, Jensen whispered, his voice filled with a hollow realization. We've lost. But even as the words left his mouth, something shifted. The alien ship, still glowing with an unnatural light, paused. Its hum subsided. It seemed almost curious. As if it were studying Earth, studying humanity's final resistance. Jensen could feel it, the change in the air. It was no longer just an invasion. It was a message. It's not over, Jensen muttered to himself, his mind sharp despite the overwhelming despair. It never was. He didn't know what the alien force wanted or why it had chosen Earth as its target. But there was one thing he understood now: the fight wasn't over. Not yet. They may have lost the battle, but humanity still had a chance to fight back. They would rise again, even from the ashes, even when all seemed lost. As the ship above continued its assault, Jensen made a vow Earth would not fall without one last stand. He turned back to the command center, his voice strong, his resolve unshaken. "Ready the survivors," he ordered. "We may have lost the battle, but this war is far from over." The alien weapon might have thought it had won, but humanity's spirit, unbroken and undaunted, was just beginning to fight back. The battle had been lost, but the war was far from over. General Jensen stood amidst the chaos in the command center, his mind still trying to process the devastation unfolding outside. Earth's major cities were in ruins, engulfed by the alien weapon's energy beams. The alien ship hovered above, almost serene in its overwhelming power, leaving no room for doubt. It was in control. But there was a spark of defiance left in Jensen, an ember that refused to be extinguished. "We've lost the fleet," Captain Hughes reported, his voice heavy with disbelief. "And the energy from the alien ship, it's nearly drained the planet. We're down to emergency power systems, and they won't last long." Jensen nodded, his eyes focused on the smoldering remnants of the Earth below. It was hard to reconcile what he saw. The planet he had sworn to protect was crumbling under the weight of an unstoppable force, and humanity's defenses had been shredded in moments. Yet, there was something that still held his attention: the quiet. The alien ship had stopped firing. The massive beams had ceased, leaving only the faint hum of its pulsing energy. The ship seemed to be waiting, as if it were studying the planet, analyzing its last moments. "Why aren't they finishing it?" Vega asked, her voice trembling from exhaustion. "They could wipe us out right now." Jensen frowned. "They could have done that already. They've already done enough damage. No, this is different. It's not just a conquest anymore. It's personal." His words hung in the air like a warning. The alien force had already proven it was more advanced, more brutal than anything humanity could throw at it. And yet, it hadn't destroyed everything. It had taken the cities, shattered Earth's defenses, but it hadn't finished the job. "Why? We still have survivors, sir," Vega said, her tone quieter now. "What do we do with them?" Jensen glanced toward the emergency shelters, where the last of Earth's population was being evacuated. They couldn't give up. Not yet. They had to fight for their survival, even if it seemed hopeless. Even if the odds were impossible. "We fight," Jensen said firmly. "We find a way to fight back. We've lost, but we're not finished. Not yet." He turned toward the massive screen showing Earth's final defense status. The alien ship still hovered above, silent, and though the planet was broken, humanity hadn't completely surrendered. They still had one last chance to turn the tide. The alien ship, the weapon that had wiped out fleets, obliterated cities, and devastated their world, was not indestructible. It had underestimated humanity's resilience. Its power, vast as it was, could still be challenged. Jensen stared at the black void in the sky, the flickering light of Earth below. They might not have the strength to win today, but they would fight. The human spirit was more than just survival. It was about standing up when all seemed lost. They had been beaten, but they were far from finished. Prepare for the final strike, Jensen ordered. We may have lost everything, but Earth will not fall without one final blow. And as the alien ship lingered in the sky, humanity, battered and bruised, prepared to take the fight to its very end, because no matter the outcome, the fight would always be worth it.